So it's about time I made my own video about TradingView. You've probably seen me use TradingView in multiple videos, blog posts, research pieces. You've probably also seen me on TradingView as well because it's a company I've worked for. It is my favorite company ever, essentially. I just have never enjoyed a product and tool and my time working at TradingView. Nothing really compares. So I wanted to just share this video about some ways I use the platform and some general review points so that people can learn something new if they wish. Now, naturally, my favorite thing when I'm on tradingview.com, logged into my account, is to use the products button up here at the top. And one of the first things I always go to is the super charts. Many of you are already familiar with the super charts. But long story short, I use the super charts to map out research for all the symbols I'm following. This is just one example of a symbol I've been following for, probably almost 2 years now. It's gone nowhere, by the way. But the point is that you can see I've got all of my analysis laid out here. And I've even got it saved under Steph's layout. So you can save everything you do, the look and feel here and the drawings that I've added just like this. Now, what's really great about this is that now you have this sort of ongoing tool about the things you're watching and looking at. So maybe just to start over and to really get up, a crisp starting point, what we can talk about is the tools that I use first thing I do when I get to the chart. Now, the first thing I do is I like to have a specific look and feel to my chart. So what I'll do is I'll right click, I'll go to settings, and I'll click Canvas. Now, if you're just getting started on TradingView, be sure that you take some time to really understand these specific features that you can update. These are settings features, colors, look, feel, news, like the whole design of your chart can really be customized in great detail. Canvas, I think, is the most important tool to understand right off the bat because this is your background. So if I wanted like a blue background, I just click blue. But in this example, I like the dark background. I even have dark mode turned on as well. See dark theme. If I check this, I'll go to light theme. But the reason why this is so important is because I want to look at a chart that I like and I want to look at it over and over. Click save. Now it's saved. Also, what's important to me is the visualization. So these are candlesticks. I've made tons of videos about candlesticks. If you need to learn more about them, check out my channel. I'm not going to go through them now. But these aren't just any normal candlesticks. In fact, these are volume candles, my favorite way to visualize price action. Again, I made an in-depth, 20-minute video about volume candles. I've got them selected. I could just use typical candles, but I like volume candles because you can see the size change based off of the amount of tradable volume. Your eyes can really just catch the biggest moves right away that have big volume and not so much the little volume days. So this is the basics for me because now I've got my TradingView chart set up. So now that I've got my TradingView chart set up, what's critical to me next is what are my favorite tools? Now, we all have different tools. We're traders, we're investors, we're analysts, we're fundamental investors. You might, for example, want to click indicators, go to technicals, and use all of these built-in technical indicators available to you. Maybe you love Bollinger Bands. Go ahead and click Bollinger Bands. And you've got them on your chart. Maybe you're working with someone who's coded or created their own indicator. Make sure you click community, go find that specific indicator, and make sure you're picking the indicator from the correct author who you know or are working with. So I've just added a custom indicator to my chart here. The point here is that you need to understand what it is you're looking to analyze. I can't answer that question for you. I can provide the education and insights to help get you started, but you're really gonna have to get out there and practice on your own. I personally love the process of these drawing tools to map out levels that interest me and then to keep these drawing tools on the chart forever. So for example, I might even just do something like this. So I'm just going to draw this rectangle here. I don't really want this to extend all the way. I want full control over it. And I might just draw this rectangle. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to make sure I understand what levels matter to me. And as an example, if I'm going to buy Apple right now, I think Apple's the greatest buy ever. Well, it's pretty important that the first thing I do is understand just, how far away it is from its all-time highs. So it looks to be about 6% from its all-time highs. So I love these drawing tools to get my process started because I can quickly visualize what the trade might look like, where the levels are that I should be watching, and just get a feel for, why am I even looking at this trade in the first place? So I might do this the other way. So 6% high, if I think this is the support zone, 7% down to the low. So if I think this is its next nearest level, just returning to its all-time highs here at 6%, but I feel like this support zone at -7% could come into play. So like one of two outcomes here in my trade. This really is not a great trade for me, and I can just visualize it that quickly. If I buy now, I feel like I could get 6%, but the downside is -7%. That's not even a one-to-one risk reward. Count me out of that trade. Not interested at all. So these drawing tools really are just like, you got to learn them to help you annotate and understand what it is you're looking for and sort of what it is that you're thinking about. It's just going to help you see it all. Now I'm going to delete those tools because there are some other tools that I absolutely love. My next favorite tool is this anchored VWAP tool. The reason why I love this tool is that I can essentially pick any point on this chart and get an anchored volume weighted average price, meaning if I click Apple since this breakout here, look at this, earnings, that E means earnings, look at the gap up, the huge move. I can click and instantly a line will be calculated just like this that is effectively taking all of this price information, but more importantly, taking all of this volume information and creating an average price that is weighted based off the number of volumes. So the large volume days and large volume moments are going to have a bigger impact on this average price than, say, for example, a day that just has very little volume. And what's pretty cool about this is you can actually see it really worked out nicely if you were following this from this point. And I'll keep this up here. Maybe I have my drawing tools up as well. But this is really the starting point for me. Now I'm getting a feel for volume. Now I'm getting a feel for average price. I had a feel I should not have actually deleted these. I had a feel for the levels that I had in mind. So I'm really constructing this entire process here. And I click save and I have all of these drawings and look and feel on my chart. It's just like fantastic. So this is one of my favorite ways to use TradingView. That simple. The drawing tools and anchored VWAP. Now, I will go to indicators as well, and I'm going to use indicators for two reasons. Number one, naturally I have volume, which is indicator, but there are sometimes specific indicators that are really interesting to me. Now, they might not be interesting to you, and that's really important, by the way, because not everyone has the same, desire to use specific indicators. I really like seeing performance on the chart. And one other thing that I also really like to see, where is it? A, B, C, D, F, G, are gaps. Now on my channel here, I've got tons of videos about trading gaps, but gaps I think are some of the most important price information that you can gather from a chart. And the gaps tool, which I really like about it, shows you every single gap. Now, if you watched my video, you know a gap is a space between a point in time where the market closed at one level and then opened way higher or way lower than where it closed, leaving this empty space. Now, I love gaps because if they're not filled, I find that to be rather interesting. So I can see gaps on the chart. Now, what's really interesting to me is all of these gaps have been filled, meaning at some point or another, price has come back and effectively filled the gap. So there's a gap, it's been filled. See the gap? Well, it was filled. Gap, it was filled. But there's one level though that has not been filled on this chart, and it's a pretty big level, I have to say, because it's way down here since this earnings gap on Apple has not been filled. Now, I don't know if Apple's going all the way back to 177, but there's a lot going on with AI right now and robotics. It kind of makes you think if they can't keep up, maybe there are some structural changes coming. But that gap as a sort of a risk reward standpoint is interesting to me as sort of like what, maybe what a support zone could be in a really extreme downward move. So now I want to take you to the other indicator, performance, which I like. And ideally what's happening here is you are getting a feel, by the way, for the different types of indicators and possibilities you have when you're on TradingView. So this performance chart I really like. Let me see if I can move this up so that it you can actually see what's going on. Let's see here. There we go. So as you can see here, what I've got, let me click. What I've got going on here is this performance bar, which makes it really easy to see that Apple's up 7% in the last week, 4% in the last month, 6% in the last 3 months, 10% in the last 6 months, 32% in the last 12 months, down 2% year to date, 200% 5 years. So it's in an uptrend. I can see that. I got the stats. Also, what's really great about this tool is I can quickly compare it to other assets or symbols. Double click and inputs here, I can change the symbol list with ease. So if you're looking at competitors, if you're looking at other companies in your portfolio, if you're looking at the S&P 500, which is really essential, because if I am trading something, I need to know, is it outperforming the S&P 500? Again, I've made a video about that. You should go check it out. You have to understand the S&P 500 if you're going to trade or invest, because it's your opportunity cost for stock picking in general. If you can't outperform it, there's, I don't know if there's a reason to spend so much time trading. It might just make more sense to buy an index. I don't know. The choice is yours. All of my content's just for education and information, but it's something to think about. So all of these tools give me the canvas I need effectively to just have tons of information, but more importantly, be really well planned. Nothing now is just done in a vacuum. I'm not just on my phone buying and selling randomly. There's actually some research here and a process here to keep me thinking. Now, another thing that I love about TradingView as well, once you really, get started with this specific tool, is that you can create alerts. Alerts have effectively, how do I want to say it, improved my life greatly. And I'll tell you why. Okay, let's say I am looking at a trade in Apple and I've got this chart here. Maybe I don't think that it makes sense, as I've already demonstrated in this video, to just rush in here because the risk reward to what I think is the move high or the move lower makes no sense. It's not even 1-to-1. Well then, if that's the case, should I even spend time on it? Or should I sit back and wait for something to happen? I think it makes sense to wait for something to happen. Now, if I love Apple in this example, well, perhaps it makes sense then to wait for a level I care about. So what I would do is, you see this support zone here and these lows, I'm just going to right click. I shouldn't right click on that exact drawing tool, but let's see here. I'm going to use a different draw. Actually, you know what? I'll just hide this for a second because I don't necessarily need it. Let's see. There it is. Okay. I'm going to right click on what I think is that support zone. So these lows here, I'm just going to right click and I'm going to click add alert. So I've got this alert. It's got to be, I'm going to do crossing down, price, value, 227. I prefer round numbers. So I'm actually going to do I prefer really round numbers actually. So 225. Only once. I don't want this alert to expire. I want TradingView to watch this alert for me at all times, open-ended. Just TradingView, watch the price level, 225 for me. And if Apple ever crosses down into it, let me know. Add a custom name. This is called my Mega Apple Dip Price. In the message, I'll write, hey, Steph, remember to watch this price. Apple crossing down 225. Okay, great. Notifications, I'll get notified in the app. I'll get a toast, an email. Okay, that works for me. I'm going to click create. And let's give it a second. And we've got our alert right here. Mega Apple Dip Price. Now, you're probably seeing what's going on. With alerts, I can now set the alert and walk away. And if the trade happens, get the alert, I'll come back to it, I'll have all of my drawings here, and I'll remember exactly what to do. This anchored VWAP, I might add an alert on that as well. I can set multiple alerts across all of these features or tools or indicators I'm watching and get notified when they happen. I mean, now that the alert's set, I don't need to watch this. On to the next. What should I move on to? How about I move on to Google, because I saw the Google chart was pretty fascinating here. Really fascinating. In fact, look at this level. This gap hasn't been filled. I would not mind trading Google into this gap at all. If that were to happen, that would be pretty interesting to me. So perhaps I'll just do the same thing. Let's just make sure I match this line up. That'd be the gap filled. Right click, add alert, crossing down. I should write mega gap fill on Google. Time to get in. Notifications, app, toast, email works for me. Click create and the alert set. Check it out. You've got this alert icon. You just cannot miss it. It's got this little alert, this clock right in front of you. So just like that, I've created 2 alerts. Now, I believe if you get started on TradingView and you get involved in these features right away, you'll see immense value. You'll enjoy the tool. If you buy a plan, you'll get the max value you can get from the plan. And also, I think what's quite important too is, this will start your journey off on the right foot because you're sort of, I would argue, doing all the right things rather than just impulsively clicking buy or sell. A few other features that I will show you that I do like is the economic calendar is pretty cool so you don't get blindsided. And I think what's kind of nice too, if you have multiple windows open, you can just create this mega. I mean, this is so cool. Entire world, click apply. You can have this mega economic calendar for every country on earth just sitting on another desktop, sitting on another window. And if you keep it open all day, every time you get to your computer, you just can't miss it. Like, you know what's going on. I even know what's happening in Finland. Is this already out? Oh, it's already out. So Finland's out. So let me click coming soon. Oh, Baker Hughes. If I'm trading oil, that's a big deal to know what the rig count is. Click down here. I can see previous data. So you can create this like really nice looking economic calendar and you won't get blindsided because I think you've all seen how certain things like GDP announcements, CPI announcements can move markets. Look at this full screen view. It's like my economic command center. I can even go back in time to Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. It's all right here. I can revisit data even better because markets are forward looking. I'm just going to go to next week. I can be ready for Monday. So here's Monday. And actually, I might throw a filter on this, actually. I think the filter that I'm going to add is, let's see, I don't need primary listing. What I need to do is add this importance filter. Yep. So pretty cool. So only high importance. This is a feature basically to get rid of all of these sort of random indicators that just don't mean as much. Maybe they're pretty straightforward. They don't have an underlying impact. They're sort of a derivative of an economic event that's far more important. So this only high importance. You can click this, and now you're only looking at interest rate decisions, unemployment rates, sentiment indexes, inflation. So pretty important that you understand that too. If you want to reduce the noise, I can just click through this. Tuesday, United Kingdom unemployment rate. Wednesday, USA building. Okay, so there you go. Wednesday, FOMC minutes. Anyone who trades equities, even crypto, forex, they know how big this is. Right here, Wednesday of next week. I mean, I have this calendar open. I'm prepared. So I love this tool for that reason as well. And probably by now you're seeing like, oh my goodness, look at that. Like, you have more than enough to work with. I am just quickly going to go back to the homepage of tradingview.com because I think there are some other tools you should be aware of. Under products, super charts I showed you. There are screeners, which I'm going to actually wrap up my video on. Calendars, I just showed that to you. Options, news flow if you really care about news. Community, get some social aspects going, maybe meet a trader or two. Indicators and strategies can be helpful if you want to find new indicators because people are coding and creating indicators. So it's pretty cool. This is called High Volume Points by Big Beluga, Range Filtered Trend Signals by Algo Alpha. I mean, that's just very interesting stuff. You might find something brand new here that you've never heard of that really shows you on the chart some cool information or data that you didn't think was possible, but now is possible. Markets, really nice way to just visualize on a single page all of the markets that matter to you. Go check it all out on a single page. This to me is very important, very powerful. I spend most of my time on the chart, I must say, but you might just prefer just to have this stocks page open and see what matters and see what's moving on any given day. I mean, you've got your gainers, your losers. You could find trades this way. Top stories if you're surfing for news and you want to know what's going on. Real news feed. Here's more news. Brokers to connect your broker. So really make sure you go through this list as well. But what I want to end this video with actually on is screeners. So look at all the screeners you have plus heat maps. Heat map, really nice visual just to see what's green or red from this really high level top-down view, like you're perched on a branch looking down at the market. I can make a whole video on this. I have made them. Go to TradingView's YouTube channel. But for this ending part of the video, I just want to show you why the screener matters so much. So let's say now you know how to use the charts. Let's say you're looking for something new. What new symbols are you going to find? Well, this is going to start in the screeners, because think of the screeners like a pasta strainer or just a strainer. You've got this huge pot of pasta and water, right? You've boiled your pasta, it's full of water. The thing about that's the market. In this case, equities. There's 5,000 plus stocks out there. It's just pasta and water. But you want to get rid of the water. You don't want to eat the water. You just want the delicious pasta. Well, the screener is your pasta filter. You're going to strain all the things you don't care about, all the things you don't want to eat out, and you're just going to get your delicious pasta. In this case, you're just going to get a list of stocks that are interesting or worth trading. So as you can see here, I have a top performer screen on, something that I was working on. Market cap 2 billion. What stocks with a market cap over 2 billion are performing the best over the last year? I mean, I can't think of a better way to find winners than that. 500% over the last year, 400% over the last year, 300% over the last year, 200% over the last year. You can just very quickly see the winners. Quite interesting. But what's great about this strainer is you can add more and more filters to it to make the strains, even smaller and smaller. So you're just getting the most perfect clear filter. So for example, maybe I also want to ensure that the companies on this list actually have earnings. Price to earnings ratio. We all know what that is. How much are you paying per dollar of earnings? Well, I only want to pay $25 or less for $1 of earnings. So I'm going to add 25 and below. So now I've got a PE ratio of 25 and below, a market cap above or equal to 2 billion, and the best performers over the last year. So now I know every company on this list has a PE ratio implying, at least in the past, it was profitable at some point. So now we know these are winners that are also profitable. Pretty interesting. Wells Fargo's up 128%. Whoa, where'd that come from? I mean, this is a great way to find new symbols that you might find interesting. And then, of course, once you think you found something, make sure you click through all of the different possibilities. Profitability. How profitable are the specific companies in this filter? What does their income statement look like? What is their balance sheet? Pretty cool. So anyways, this is my review of TradingView. I'm building a library of all these reviews. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope some of my quick features and tidbits help you get started. Thanks for watching. And write a comment or subscribe if you stuck around the whole time.